Welcome back to PloopAChoop, everybody, and actually welcome to a brand new series on our channel for the new year. This is the PloopyCast, a podcast sort of episode where I talk to other creators that are around my size that I really enjoy their content and getting to know them better, and we kind of just break it down and talk about whatever. This episode is just going to be centered around whatever me and Brew United, my special guest, want to talk about. How you doing, Brew?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Really awesome to finally get this on paper, so to speak. Finally get the collab down.
Yeah, it's been what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, we're
We've been
trying
talking
to
about it.
nail it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right before this, you asked me how. What did you ask me? Uh.
So I
Oh.
was asking, like, what you used to do video editing. What's the platform you're using?
Oh yeah. So Premiere. Okay, I was getting screwed by Adobe for a minute. I'm a student, and so like I was using a student discount, and so I was paying for Photoshop originally, just Photoshop, because I wasn't into like editing videos or anything.
Right.
And I was paying like only like $7 a month for it or something. And
Hmm.
then I transferred schools from a community college to a university online, and I forgot to update my information. So for like the last 6 months or even probably even a year, I've been paying like 14.99 for just Photoshop. And so I went back in and looked at my subscription, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta update this." And when I updated it, it was like, "Do you want all of our apps for $20?" And I was like, "Oh, cool, yeah, sure." And so
Nice. So
now
that's
now
what
it's
got you
renewed.
hooked on Premiere then.
Yeah, that's what got me into Premiere. And I was using Vegas before. Vegas is really like I used to think that was like what I used to hear as a kid trying to do YouTube is everybody's always like Sony Vegas, which is now not Sony Vegas, but they used to be like Sony Vegas is the best one. And like I use both of them extensively now. Premiere is
Hmm.
way better than Vegas. Vegas is like really clunky, and it's like I will say it handles the variable frame rate better. So when I want to record like an emulated Pokemon game, it does
Hmm.
fine with the footage. But I have Vegas forever now, so I mean, if I ever do another Pokemon series that's on an emulator where the frame rate can vary, I'm just going to run it through Vegas to stabilize it and then put it on Premiere.
Yeah, basically cut it out into a video and then upload it into
Yeah.
Premiere from there. Yeah. Yeah, I've been messing with both DaVinci and also Filmora, which used to be absolute trash, but they've actually made some improvements over the years.
Yeah, I keep hearing Filmora get thrown around, and I almost got into Filmora before I decided on Premiere, and if I ever can afford Premiere, I'll probably get into Filmora.
Yeah, I think I want to say Generation Pixel uses it because I saw some of the graphics that came across. He'd be interested to ask this exact same question to be honest.
Yeah, I love his channel, man.
I do
I
too. I mean, the accent
Yeah, the
always
accent
throw.
makes it.
Yeah, man. I was actually born in Northeast England, so I was born not too far from there and actually worked for about 12 months in kind of greater Glasgow where he lives.
Oh yeah,
So
so I did not like when you said that the other day when I think it was a couple weeks actually when I was playing Football Manager. I didn't know
mhm.
like what you meant by like you were English because I was like, wow, your accent is gone.
Yeah, no, it totally was gone. I mean, I moved to Miami in the 80s, so any hope of retaining kind of that British accent was thrown out. And
Yeah.
now people say, "All right, where are you from? You don't sound like you're from anywhere." It could be Ohio, could be North Carolina, and somewhere in between, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, because when you told me, I was like, I wonder if like,
What?
you probably think our English accents, the stupid ones we do on stream, are like horrible.
No, it's all good. I mean, it's funny because my parents live next door to me and they have this thick accent like they've never left and they've been over here for 40 years, which, is incredible. And my kids lapse into that type of accent real quickly. And it's funny because when they're around, like, "Oh, you doing all right?" I'm like, "What is wrong with y'all?" It's so
That's
crazy.
awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
That's
it's good.
awesome. Yeah, I'm
So
thinking
when you're
about
playing
huh?
last night, wasn't it we were gonna dive into, and this can go anywhere, that we're heading. Look, this is definitely free form, but we're talking about Final Fantasy. I think that was kind of the big topic that we're kicking around while you're slicing people with your cyber ninja.
Yes. So I was interested in Final Fantasy because obviously we are from two different generations, and
Hmm.
it's always been the um like the sort of the stereotype of the Final Fantasy community is that there is a 50%. Well, I would say it's not necessarily 50-50, but for this argument, I'll just say there's 50% of people that think, we'll say 40-40. There's 40% of people that think after 7 they suck, and then there's
Mhm.
40% of people that think that after 7 is better than before 7, and then there's like 20% of people that are just like me, that I like all of them, like they're all fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I
um
would.
so I just wanted to kind of get like your, like, see like where we both stand, like on I know. Okay, so for me, I started with 12 and 10. I got them for Christmas when I was like 12 or 10.
Mhm. Mhm.
um but yeah, I started with 12, like I got them both at the same time. I think 10 got me as a kid with the, like, the CGI cutscenes. I saw those and I was like, whoa, this looks like anime, it's so cool. And then I was
Yeah.
like, I have to have, and then I like looked up what game that was. And I told my grandpa and he got them both for me. And so like I remember I was terrible at those kind of games as a kid. And so like I never finished them until I was an adult. So I didn't really have an appreciation for Final Fantasy. I wanted to, but I wasn't good enough as a kid to get an appreciation.
I get that. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I started, back in I think the original Final Fantasy for me had to be around 89 or 90. And I know in Japan, Final Fantasy 1, 2, and whatever came out, I think probably 87. I think that was when the first one came out. I didn't see it really until 90, 91. And that was when Final Fantasy 2 came out, which was ultimately was Final Fantasy 4 in Japan.
Right.
And we didn't see, I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday. We didn't even see their Final Fantasy 3 or their Final Fantasy 6 for years later. I mean, lots of years went by, and Final Fantasy 6 was kind of a hidden gem that you could only get, if you could translate it or if you could actually speak Japanese. So I think 91 or 92 was Final Fantasy 2 when it came out. And that was where I dove in. And it's interesting, kind of go back to your original question there. How do I look at the Final Fantasy series? Is I was completely on board, I think, with Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 12, X2, whatever that was. And then the thing that really got me, I wouldn't say completely off the series, but kind of jolted me was kind of two events. So one was, I think it was Lightning Returns. Wasn't that one of the ones that came
Yeah,
after
that was
that?
like the third Final Fantasy 13 game.
Right. That I don't know if it was just kind of a linear storyline that really pulled me in, even though there's been a lot of linear Final Fantasies. It may have been kind of what was going on in my life at the time. There's kind of a lot going on. And then there was kind of a 1-2 punch. So that one kind of gave a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. Then they came out with Final Fantasy, was it 14 Online? The
Yeah, the
original.
original release of it was horrible.
Oh, dude. And I and my wife and a good friend of ours threw crazy money on the collector's edition. The one that has like all the toys and all the things and this massive box. And it bombed. And not only did it bomb, then when we tried to get into it, I didn't even realize they'd canceled it. It like a couple of months later. I was like, "Oh, this is such trash." The way, and it's weird when you go back and you're like, "What are the little tiny events that kicked me off and said, 'Hey, I don't want to play this?'" And it was something really simple. The merchants and how you made and crafted things and how you sold them. It used to be this trash setup where you just had to stand logged in a room, and people had to go, merchant to merchant, basically character to character, and that was the only way they could buy stuff off you.
Man, that is, yeah, that they've really done. So I got into 14 late. As a kid, I picked it up on PS3.
Nice.
When it was a Realm Reborn, when like they, which is funny because if you play a Realm Reborn, they've like iron. It's like one of the best MMOs in the world now. And it's funny
I
because
agree.
they like acknowledge that they built it into the lore of this game that the first release of it was horrible. It's
Yeah,
there's this thing called like the Calamity, and all of the
right.
original characters are supposed to be like have died in the Calamity. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting that you like, so 13 for me. Okay, I'll say in order, um, and I'm gonna speak from like cognitively like finishing. So like
sure.
recently, I got really really, like I would say like last. I'm 24 now, so probably when I was like 18, I got really into Final Fantasy.
Nice.
Always was like on the outside because I played Kingdom Hearts and all the like. There's a lot of Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts, and I was like,
Mm.
I'm going to try this eventually. And like I said, I always owned 10 and 12, and then they started putting them out on PS4 and stuff, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna give them a try because I like the aesthetic of them. And so
Mhm.
I picked up 10 and 10 2, and I sat
Mhm.
down with 10 because I was like, this is the one I started with. I might as well try to beat it. I got all the way to Lady Unileska, like I said yesterday on stream, and
Mhm.
I could not like I built all my characters wrong. Like I didn't build them. I didn't understand that Final Fantasy was a game. It's like a marathon, not a sprint. So I should have been paying attention to how I was building. And I got
Yep.
to her fight, and she completely destroyed me like every time. But I was like, I could probably. There was a couple times I almost beat her, so I probably could have powered through. But then the whole Jalen's PS4 fan just quit on him because that winter I requested like a month off from work because we were supposed to go see my family, and we ended up not going.
Mhm.
And so I basically just had a month off at home. And so I every day we got on Final Fantasy 14 from new
Nice.
characters. And we put in like 1,000 straight hours in that month.
Right.
And or something crazy like that. Like we were just racking up the time. We literally would play from 4 a.m. to 4 a.m. the next day. It was
Dang.
gross. And I would say like in that time we beat the original campaign. We got into Heaven's Ward, and then I kind of like shit out on it because it was, I got like really really just out of it because we had played so much, and then that's his PS4 started giving out. I was playing on my PC, so his PS4 started dying. Like the fans were just going bad, and so he went.
Mm.
GameStop was doing a special thing where if you traded in a console, they put like if it was a PS4, because they were a little more popular at the time, they would put an
Mhm.
extra $90 on it, and if you traded in an Xbox, they'd put an extra like $60 on it. We both had Xboxes and PS4, so we traded them both because his system failing scared me. So we both traded both of them in to get new
Yeah.
PS4s basically, and
Right.
yeah, so then that's when I lost all of my save data for 10, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna tell people I beat it because I was really close.
Yeah, it's close enough. In fact, I have a similar story on 10. I got to the end and it was just frustrating to the point. I was like, man, this is the most annoying fight because those you basically have to pack a lunch to the end of Final Fantasy fights, right?
Yeah,
And
for
that's been
real.
the way it's been for years. And I actually handed the controller to my friend. I'm like, dude, why don't you play it? And he is not I don't think he played it at the time. I think, he'd played the previous one 9, but he never played 10. And he just ended up beating the character. I'm like, all right, I got you there. You have all the summons you can beat, and you did. So I feel like I took part in that. So I have a similar story. I beat it vicariously.
Yep, that's what I said, and I'm getting to the point where I want to give it another go, because
Mm,
it's been 4 years probably since that happened, but then I also lost 12. Like I was playing 10 and 12 at the same time. When I got bored of 10, I get on 12.
yeah.
Um, and me and Jalen were actually beating them together. Like we would get on like a PlayStation party and we would talk while we were both playing them. And so
Nice.
12 was I actually really enjoyed 12. As a kid, I thought like the not steampunk, but kind of like the guns and stuff. I thought that was kind of cool that they mixed the guns in with like medieval like weaponry, and so I
Mhm,
got really into like the. I thought the enemies looked really cool, like the judges. I always thought their armor looked really sweet.
mhm.
I think 12's biggest downfall for me is that Vaughn is like a dog shit main character. I really don't like Vaughn. He's so
I agree.
boring. I think the rest of the cast is really good. Like Balthier, I love him because he's like a sky pirate. I think
Mhm.
Fran is awesome. I know like not everybody likes Fran, but I liked Fran. Bosch was cool. I just didn't like Vaughn and Penelope or whatever her name is. I thought they were both like really flat characters.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't connect to them, I mean, that's one of the things that I think W I don't I'm like you, I don't really dislike a Final Fantasy, but when I go back, certain ones jump out because I remember every character's name and I have a feeling around it. You won't remember the names, but you have a feeling behind it. That's kind of a thing that a lot of people say. And the themes kinda come in and out because they'll have like a high fantasy theme and then they'll come back and they'll have gun swords like Final Fantasy 8 had gun swords. And then Final Fantasy 5 had not only all of that, but they also had kind of magic had left the world and they made the machinery or the machina, which kind of came back as a theme in Final Fantasy 10. That was like the evil machina that, that they're all kind of rebelling against. And then they found out really They're all using it, and it's just all a big, a big lie.
Yeah, that's so I think I played 10 and then
Hmm.
12 recently. And then I was like I don't remember how close I was to being 12, but I think I was decently far. Um
Hmm.
I got farther than I ever did. As a kid, I got stuck on the wall, like the demon walls. I couldn't beat those as a kid, but as an adult, I beat them.
Oh yeah,
And then I picked up 7 original, like the original digital version of 7, not the remake. Although I do really want to play the remake. I'm just waiting until it eventually comes out on PC in 2035.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I picked up the original 7, and like Jalen, he's like really good at just like sitting down and nailing and finishing a game. So like, I know he's beaten 7. I think he basically beat 10. He was at the same part I was at when we traded in our systems. So he basically beat 10. I don't know if he started 12 yet. Um,
Hmm.
and then we both got on our phones and emulated playing. I was playing Final Fantasy 1, and he was playing the I want to say it was Final Fantasy 2, not the one with Cecil. It was like the original 2, like the game that was
Yeah.
actually supposed to be 2.
Right.
So he was playing that one, and he got really into it, which was funny because when I looked it up, everybody was like hating on that game, saying like the RNG system for leveling up was bad, and but he was like
Ugh.
really enjoying it. And what got us into those games was the newest Dissidia game. As much as people talk crap about it, we actually really enjoyed that game because we love Final Fantasy, and
Hmm.
it got us one. Like I remember, I started maining Cecil, and I was like, dude, I have to play Final Fantasy 4. Like I gotta know what the story
Yeah.
is, and so I downloaded an emulator. I was playing. No, I think I got the phone version, and I was sitting there playing it. I was really into the story and stuff, and then I think I just stopped playing it one day, but I actually have it on PC, and I do want to go back. It's the DS. I think it's a port of the DS game, so it's got voice
Right.
acting and stuff. It's probably not as good as the original. I'm sure it looks a little more clunky, but I'm looking forward to like sitting down and beating some of those on streams, just to kind of have like some chilled out streams. But yeah, I
Hmm.
actually, as much as Final Fantasy has impacted my life, I haven't actually finished very many of them, but I have played quite a few. Like I played 1, I've played 4, I've played 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. I have played 13. That's Jalen's favorite Final Fantasy series is the 13 series. He's like in that
Really?
small vocal minority.
Wow. Yeah.
Because
I
I
ended up getting the
I hate
steel box
13.
on that one,
Oh yeah,
and I
that
don't think I ever opened it. I don't think.
13 is really okay. So I will say the character design. I think Lightning looks awesome. Like as a female
Yeah.
protagonist, I think she has a really cool look.
Yeah.
She is flat. I felt like in the games, but more like,
Hmm.
and if you like 13, more power to you. Like Jalen loves it. He was like, you really got to try 13, man. Just power through the first game because the other ones are pretty decent. And I was like, okay. So I sat down with 13 on PC. I put in 26 straight hours and realized for these 26 hours I've been running forwards and I have not like ran left or ran right. It's literally like a hallway the entire game. You're just running forwards and that's it. It's very linear. And then people that defend 13 would be like, well, Final Fantasy 10 is linear, and it's like, yeah, but at least I can run left and right, and I can like, there's like more
Yeah.
stuff to see, and it's a little bit to me, it's it can be kind of foolish to go back to say now that a game that came out back when Final Fantasy 10 came out could even be compared to 13. It's a different
Mhm.
time. I mean, like we were seeing so many. Like say what you want about Final Fantasy 15. It's not a perfect game. I enjoyed 15, but it's not my
Mhm.
favorite, and it definitely has flaws. But
Yeah.
around the time that 13 came out, we were having games like that were open world JRPGs. It didn't
Mm.
need to be linear. They chose to go that way with it, and it was more than just being linear because Final Fantasy 10 allows you to backtrack, and it is open world in a sense that you can kind of go wherever you want. But 13, it's like you are stuck on that path. It is, and it's like every character is just running for. I don't even know if I ever saw like the sideways like animation of somebody running. I think it was always I was just looking at their back for 26 hours,
That's trippy, man.
and then I
I,
quit.
I look at kind of what games are out today, and I'm wondering if Final Fantasy could emulate. I mean, when I think open world, right? I think Naughty Dog. I think Rockstar, and I think before Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red. I think they all have held the bar on what open world could be. I mean, can you imagine a Final Fantasy of that ilk?
Yeah, I think that that would be so. I think 15 for me, 15 was cool. Like I said, it had its flaws. I was
Mhm.
definitely in the camp that didn't defend it. Like people, okay, so I try not to gatekeep too much, but people who jumped into 15 and then thought they knew everything about Final Fantasy did annoy me a little bit. Um, we had a friend actually who was a first time Final Fantasy player when 15 came out, and
Mhm.
he we're not friends anymore, but he was the kind of person like he would want to understand everything, but it was like he would only read little bits and then try to like just make up the rest. So like he was asking me, are Titus and Cloud related? And I was like, no, dude. And he was like, well, I heard you have to play like all the games in order. And I was like, whoever told you that is like messing with you, because you can play as long as it's not like a number dash another number, you can play them in any
Mhm.
order. They're all like their own self-contained. Like I was like, yeah, there's shouts for like people that have played 7, this like let's say like there's like a similar summoning in 10. It's just like there's like little shouts like that, but it's not
Right.
like the story is not cohesive at all unless you're playing 10 and then you don't play 10 2 before you play 10. That's like the only
Right.
time it ever matters. But yeah,
Right.
it was really frustrating because he played 15 and he was like, this is like, this has to be the best Final Fantasy. And I was like, oh my god, it's not. There's so many things
No.
wrong with it. I do think they got a shitty end of the stick, and the stuff behind the scenes really ruined that game, because I felt like if they had all of the stuff that ended up being included in like that novel, it would have
Mhm.
been an awesome experience. But I think
Yeah.
they made some weird marketing decisions that I think really overall just hurt the game. Like
Mhm.
it was supposed to be a Final Fantasy for first timers and for veterans. So why
Yeah.
did they put the beginning, like why did they cut out what happened with the Kingsclave and put it into a movie that new people are not going to go watch a Final Fantasy. Like they want to be able to jump into a game and they want to be able to experience everything that the game has to offer. They don't want to go and watch the anime that's on YouTube or the movie that you have to pay for to watch. Like nobody was going to
Yeah.
do that. So I think they alienated a lot of those new players, because those people go into forums or YouTube comments and they're like, you know, trying to talk about stuff, and then they haven't seen the movie, so then they're getting like dog shit on by all these fans that were like mouth breathing at the movie theater watching it. And so like
Yeah.
I think they just alienated part of their fan base. Not to mention, when the game first came out, the end was horrible. Like the ending of the game was so rushed and it felt like the pacing was weird. Um
Mhm.
but it's a shame that they didn't get to finish all of the DLC, because I was really into that game. And I don't know if have you played Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So in Kingdom, did you play the third one?
I did. Yeah, actually, I'm sitting there staring at all 3 of them behind it. What's the other one, like 2.5 they had? Didn't they have 4? Or am I
There's like
dreaming?
12 games in the Kingdom Hearts series. There's like, in order you would play like this might be wrong because it's been a while since I've studied up on the convoluted Kingdom Hearts lore, but
Mhm.
you will play Birth by Sleep, then 1, then there's like some card games, like games where you had to like use cards to attack. Those come after 1. Then there's
'Kay.
this DS game called 365 over 2 days. Then that comes into play. Then I think you play Kingdom Hearts 2. Then you
Right.
play um there's some other ones after that, Dream Drop Distance, and then I think you play I don't know, there's like a lot. There's like 10 games maybe in that whole series, and like people thought all the little games like the DS games and PSP games, like they were like, "Oh, I'm not playing those. Those are just side games." But really they kind of are like paramount to the story.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know there was many. I mean, I'm looking at 4 of them right now, and I think I had 1 in the second one, and then I was on Facebook Marketplace of all places, and I was looking for I happened to see, like, a game I needed, but the guy was selling it as a lot. This is a crazy story. So I'll do just slight detour here for a second. So I live Western North Carolina, kind of in the middle of nowhere, and I am watching Facebook Marketplace. I find 2 or 3 games actually that I'm desperate to get into my collection, some RPGs. So I contact the guy and he said, "Hey, I'm about to sell it as a lot." It was like 65 games and the guy wanted $40. I mean, it's one of those kind of stories where you're like, "Yeah, right," but no, it's true. And he said, if you want it, you need to come pick it up now because if not, you and this other guy want it. So I drove next to this like horrible, decrepit house, right? I mean, the place was falling apart. And this was in the middle of the pandemic when it was kind of peaking in what, April or May? I can't remember.
Yeah, somewhere
So
around then.
pull up to the guy's house and he's got just like things falling out of the window. I mean, it looks like an absolute dump. And he comes out with his trash bag. And I'm like, oh man, what is going on here? And he opens up the trash bag and there's all these games, probably 5 or 6 of them completely sealed, never opened. And some of them, in kind of various disarray with that. But the games that I wanted, 2 of them were sealed, one of them was complete in box. But he had all of these games like, Kingdom Hearts that I didn't own. And there's a few, like some like Cabela's fishing game and some stuff that you probably would be like, who even plays these games, And I actually have those behind me as well. So part of my collection was doing the whole Facebook marketplace and kind of risking it for 3 games. But that's kind of my Kingdom Hearts expansive story. I got a few more games out of that.
Yeah, it's I think if you have like the 2 point, so the way that they boxed them was, or so the originally for me, I played one because that was like that did come out first, but it's not the first one in the chronological order of games now. Um,
Gotcha.
but they released one, so I played that, and then I didn't play any of like the games that came out on Game Boy or anything, even though I had a Game Boy. And I
Mm,
remember when Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, my dad took me to Family Video because he knew that I really liked Kingdom Hearts, and I rented Kingdom Hearts 2. And
nice.
at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2, you play as Roxas, who is like Sora's nobody. And
Right.
I didn't understand all of that stuff because I didn't play the Game Boy games or anything. And so
Mm,
like Jalen loves Roxas. It's like his favorite Kingdom Hearts character. And I hated Roxas for a long time because as a kid I was like, where the hell is Sora, bro? I don't want to play as this goofball. I don't want to do like they have you doing jobs and doing like skateboard tricks for money. I didn't want to do any of that. I just want to play as Sora because that's where I left off when I was a kid. And
mm,
yeah, so I think the way that they ended up doing it was 1 and 2 came out amongst all of these like DS, Game Boy, PSP games, and then
yeah.
right before 3, they kept saying, "Okay, Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be on PS3," and so we were all like, "Oh, awesome!" So then they
Yeah.
dropped 1.5 Remix, which took Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix, which is like the best version of Kingdom Hearts 1 with all
Mm,
the bonus bosses and stuff, and they bundled
mm,
it with I want to say the card game
okay.
and maybe both of the card games, and then I think that and maybe that's how that worked. I think it was Kingdom Hearts 1 and then the card games. Then 2.5 came out, and that was Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. The just the cutscenes from the DS game, which was the 365 over 2 days.
Right.
And then 2.5 had I think like Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance maybe. So those were all bundled together. And then it was everybody's like, okay, so we got 2.5. Now we're waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3. And then the
Mm,
PS4 came out, and they were like, okay, we're not ready yet. And then they dropped Kingdom Hearts 2.8, which that one actually had Dream Drop Distance and a new like 8-hour campaign where you play as Aqua, who is a member of the prequels. Um, and yeah, so that's how they bundled all of them. And then finally, Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and I will say like overall 3 was okay. It was a little disappointing to me. Like some of the just dialogue is just really cringy. Um,
mm,
but I thought overall it was okay. It just wasn't. I mean, no, it's just kind of like the cyberpunk thing. It's not necessarily their fault. It's I think that hype trains are a combination of two things. If you're No Man's Sky, the hype train is your fault because you lied to everybody, and now No Man's Sky is much closer to what they promised. But
oh
when it
yeah.
first came out, yeah, that Sean dude's fault because he was telling everybody, "Oh yeah, pretty much any question we had, it was yes." Like, "Oh, is there going to be lightsabers?" "Yeah, there's going to be lightsabers." "Oh, can I be a Jedi?" "Yeah." "Oh, is there going to be, Halo, is Master Chief going to make an appearance?" "Sure, why not?" And then,
That's right.
like it comes out and there's no multiplayer. The space battles are abysmal. Like it's not fun. It's basically Minecraft in space.
Yep.
I mean, so like now that game looks awesome. I won't buy it again because I've
Mm,
tried it the first time and I think I bought it one time after that with the multiplayer update and it's just not for me. But
yeah.
yeah, I think if that's the case, the hype train is your fault because you were feeding into the hype. If
Mhm.
you know, if the hype train is Cyberpunk 2077, yeah, it's the programming and stuff and the game running like garbage. That's their fault. But it's also our fault for begging them and threatening them for not like I remember when it was like the first time that one guy that we used to be friends with, when No Man's Sky was about to come out, he was super into that idea, and I was too. I thought it was going to be awesome. And when they announced, I think Kotaku got the spill first that they were going to push it back for like 6 months.
Hmm.
When they did that delay, my friend was like, I hope everybody at Kotaku gets fired. And I was like, for what? I was like, that's not their fault. And that's when I realized that hype trains are disgusting. Like with 2077, yes, they should have taken more time. But at what cost? I mean, people were threatening them, people were begging them for a game to come out that they weren't done with. And that's what
Yeah.
happens. You beg for a game. Now, there was people, that like Backpack Comics that weren't doing that kind of stuff. We're just excited to play it, but a lot of
Mhm.
their fan base was super toxic, and it's like, well, I mean, in a sense, that's kind of what you get. You keep begging for it. They weren't ready to put it out. They put out a
Yeah.
rushed product, and now nobody can play it because it's not optimized. But I think people also fail to remember The Witcher 3 wasn't really that well optimized when it first came out either, and it took time and patches to fix it. I
Yeah.
think at the core, Cyberpunk 2077 is probably a fantastic game. They just have to
Yeah.
do some polishing on it because nobody will know that it's a good game because nobody can play it unless you have two dual 3077s running.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I was chatting with Generation Pixel on that, and his one of his end of the year videos that he did was about that exact topic, which was like they need to put the thing back in the oven for a little bit, let it bake.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about that, guys. Had to take a personal call. We are back into the swing of things. As I was saying, I don't think that it's not Square Enix's fault that Kingdom Hearts 3 didn't necessarily live up to our expectations. Um, it's in a sense kind of our fault as people that like, yes, they made us wait like a decade, but I don't think any game was going to live up to that decade of hype. I don't think any game could.
Right. Right. Yeah. Every year that goes by, I think the hype train gets a little bit bigger. I mean, if you look at, we talked about the, Cyberpunk 2077, that had a lot of steam, that was building up over a lot of time for that hype machine to go. And I think their development, and I'm in software development, so this is kind of, part of my life, is they're building with each new generation of system tech debt on what they're developing against. So they have to get to a point where they're going, these legacy systems, the PS4, even though most people have a PS4, even though most people have an Xbox One, they still need to look, all right, PC can handle it. Because if you look at the games that did work well for it, PC was a good release. And they even were trying to accommodate things like Google Stadia. And I mean, it was just trying to be everything to everyone. And that just was not possible with the ambition that they had with that game.
Yeah, yeah, that I think that's definitely. And there's I want to say it's interesting that it almost feels like I don't know how to like me and my friends have like talked about this a few times. I think that the PS3 generation had, in my opinion, higher quality games sometimes than the PS4 generation. Like I still loved my PS4, and there was a lot of good that came out of it. I love The Witcher 3.
Hmm.
God of War was good.
Oh
I
yeah.
like I enjoyed a lot of those experiences.
Yep.
But I just felt like with PS3 there was so many more things, and I think that could come down to maybe just as a kid I was more willing to try things that like now if I see like a 6 out of 10, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna spend my money on that. Um, but like that's kind of changing now. Like if I see a game like Football Manager last year didn't do very well. Like I mean, people were like it was like mixed, and I still
Yeah.
like every year that game could have mostly negative. I'm probably still gonna buy it every year. Um,
Hmm.
but I think that it probably could come down to multiple things. Like I said, one of them could be uh that I was just more willing to try things, but I think most of it is like companies like EA are just running things into the ground and
Hmm.
doubling down on releasing the same thing year after year. Um and it's just like I think like more companies are okay with taking that route or like just like cutting corners. Like I mean, Battlefield 3 on PS3 was one of my favorite games of all time. I put thousands and thousands and thousands of hours into battle, like to the point where I was making Smurf accounts because I wanted to earn everything again. Um,
Dang.
and then Battlefield 4 was good. But that's when it kind of started. On PS3, I got Battlefield 4 for a birthday, and on PS3 they like DICE and EA made it purposefully look bad so that you would
Mhm.
want to buy a PS4 or an Xbox One. And I thought that was like so shady. And because I was like, why does it look so bad? And then I looked it up and people were like, yeah, they did it on purpose. Like they're obviously kind of in bed with like Sony and Microsoft, and so they wanted to push the new consoles out.
Mm.
And so that's kind of what I was afraid of with Cyberpunk. And people are saying like the PS4 version and Xbox One version aren't great.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's necessarily them trying to push the new console or just like that, like you said, that game is just too ambitious for last, or for, I guess we'll call it current gen still, but like PS4 and Xbox One are just cannot run that game, can't even fathom it, because even on PC it's just not optimized well. I mean, like
Yeah.
I know Jalen has like a 1660 Ti and still like had to run everything on like medium to get it to play. And
That's
I haven't even tried it. Like I'm not even that game didn't really interest me a whole lot. Like that didn't really get like me going, so I kind of just like skipped on it. But yeah, I know people that have like a 1080 like I have, and they have trouble running it unless you turn some stuff like a mix of high and medium.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle there. I was actually on Cyberpunk 2077. Like, I'm gonna pre-order it, and one game came out in between when I found out it was coming out and when I knew it was coming out, and that game was Mass Effect Andromeda. So I'm a huge Mass Effect geek from like way back when
Mm-hmm.
it first came out, and I loved one. But if you go back and play one, it's so dated. Like, it did not age well. Two was an absolute masterpiece, at least in my opinion. And then three, it had all the things except the ending, and ultimately they added the ending. So we're talking about games where you can actually make them right again. But then they came out with Andromeda, and that thing just, I think I let myself get into that same thought pattern you were talking about there. I got myself hyped up, saying, this is Mass Effect 4, and the story, the characters, no one was really I just couldn't get into it. And then that I was pre-ordered on that. And then of course when Cyberpunk, when it was ready to do the pre-orders, I said, you know what? As much as I trust CD Projekt Red, as much as I've seen all the games coming out, even Gwent. I mean, I was so crazy into The Witcher. I actually have Polish Gwent decks.
That's
So I've got
awesome.
the card game sitting behind me here. And I had to learn the Polish words to understand what it was. But when 2077 came out, I kind of had that feeling like, man, I knew this was going to happen. And whenever things are delayed, that's not a good thing. That's definitely not good.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's like if it's being delayed, delaying can mean eventually we're going to get a good game, but it also means
Good.
that the ravenous hype train is going to, like people. I think like one of the most toxic things that exists in all media, but a lot in video games, is the defending your purchase thing. I hate that so much. Like
Oh yeah.
I can admit, I love Pokemon. I grew up playing all the Pokemon games. Pokemon Sword is not a bad Pokemon game. It's not great. It's not next gen. It's not, it's not, it feels like a DS game. It doesn't feel like the first ever Pokemon game on Switch, like they kept running it. It didn't feel like the first console Pokemon game, like traditional style Pokemon game. It felt like a DS game. Nintendo lied. I mean, they told us that the reason that they had to cut so many Pokemon is because they had to redo all of the models and animations. That wasn't even true. They they are literally the DS models just blown up. So I think,
Wow.
that I hate the defending your purchase thing. It's like, dude, just admit that your game sucks. It's fine. Like if you genuinely like it, that's cool. But like my
Yeah.
friend got really mad at me with the No Man's Sky thing. When one of our other friends was asking us, should I get this game? I was like 10 hours in at that point, bored out of my mind. And I was like,
Mm.
don't get this game, dude. It sucks. It's super boring. It's not worth it. And he's like, oh no, it's amazing. It's like the best game ever. I was like, you were smoking crack. It's not a good game. And I was like, this is literally, I was like, Minecraft is a better game than this, but this is like
Mm.
Minecraft in space. And then that's when my friend was like, how is it Minecraft in space just because you mine and craft? I was like, dude, you literally just said Minecraft. That's exactly what this is. You just said, how is this Minecraft when it's Minecraft? Is basically what you said. And then he got super mad and like screamed at me about how you gotta let me finish. And I was like, dude, no matter what you say, this sucks. This game is bad. And it's like, I mean, it's like for some reason people don't want to look like they're dumb, like you wasted your money. It's like, dude, it's cool. It's not your fault. Like they got you. They pulled you
Yeah.
in with the hype. You got the game. It wasn't good. I mean, you
Mhm.
don't have to defend it just because you spent money on it. You can say, yeah, this sucks. There's been plenty of games that I've like refunded because I was like super excited and then I got them and I was like, yeah, this is trash. I don't like this.
Yeah,
Um,
my Steam policy on that is I know they have a cutoff point, and if I'm not completely crazy about the game on Steam, I'm making sure I pull that refund trigger, you know?
yeah, I do that a lot too. I have a lot of Steam games. But there was I never let it happen to me again. So like when I first got my computer, like when you have a
Mm.
PlayStation, I didn't know anything about PC gaming. When you have a PlayStation, sometimes you leave the room for a couple hours, you just let a game run, like you're just on the pause screen and you come back or
Mhm.
whatever. So
Mhm.
I used to do that on my computer, not thinking like that was a bad thing to do. I just used to leave my games open. Well, one night
Mhm.
I bought RPG Maker because I was like, I'm gonna make my own game, and
Oh gosh.
it's horrible. It's so bad. I fell asleep with it on and woke up and had 12 hours of use time, and I was like, I tried to explain that to the Steam people. I was like, I fell asleep. I really wasn't using this the whole time, and I couldn't get the refund for it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I set a timer when I start a game, and if I don't like it, now there's like stuff that I figured I would like the that Ghost Runner game. I figured I'd probably like that. It's high octane, it's super fast paced. So I was like, I'm not worried
Mhm.
about starting this on stream. Stuff like Final Fantasy VI that I just picked up, Stardew Valley, like those are games that I'm willing to sink time into. But yeah, it's
Mhm.
stuff that I'm not sure about. Anything early access, I make sure that I'm ready to get the
Yeah, I was
refund.
asking about, I think, Final Fantasy VI and some of the other ones if you had a PS1 yesterday, because I've got a ton of dupes of those games, just being kind of a freak of trying to get like the perfect inbox. So I was like, yeah, man, I will send those. If you had PS1, I'd send them to you.
I want to get one and play them like, so to speak, the right way. Like I want to try it to
Yeah.
like see what they were like back then. Because
You
my first console was actually, like I said, I think yesterday on stream, my first like cognitive console was probably like the PS2 or maybe even the GameCube. Like I said, we had a PS1. It was my dad's. I was like a little kid when that was around. So like I was just watching my dad play, and
Mhm.
to keep me busy, he used to give me what now I know. I don't know if I'm sure you do. Those little demo discs that you would get with PlayStation Magazine, where it would have
Yeah.
like 20 demos on it or something.
Mhm.
He used to like keep me busy by putting that in, and I would just play like Ape Escape's demo or like Spyro or whatever. Or but I remember
Spyro.
he was playing like Tomb Raider, like the original ones. He played that. He played like Resident Evil and stuff. I didn't really get into like cognitively like, oh, I understand what I'm doing probably until I think like the first game I ever beat, funny enough, even though I didn't really understand video games until PS2 era, was a PS1 game. It was like the Lion King game. I beat that as a kid.
Nice.
But yeah, that was like my first ever game that I knocked out. But I want to go back. Like, I got really into Super Nintendo games. Even though that was before me.
Mhm.
Um, I got really into like Chrono Trigger. I tried that. That became one of my favorite games. Like before Persona 5 came out, that was my favorite game for a long time.
Nice.
Persona 5, like when that came out, that was like a life-changing game for me. Um, I really, really fell in love because that was like my first ever Persona game. I didn't play them on PS because I think at the time I would probably been too young. I know they're rated M, so I probably couldn't even play them when they were coming out on PS2.
Right.
But I remember seeing like the anime art style, and I was like, "That's so cool." And I was like, "I can't." And then I saw it was out in Japan, and I was like, "Oh, I can't wait until this comes out over here." And I had it pre-ordered, and I got it, and I played like whatever 120 hours straight it takes to beat the campaign. Like I just sat there and played it. Like every day after work, I'd just get off and just start playing Persona. Um,
Nice.
and then I got Persona 5R, but I haven't really gotten a chance to like crack into it yet. And then I actually went out and bought a Vita just so I could play Persona 4 Golden. And then they ended up putting it on Steam. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think that those were like I've gotten really into Super Nintendo. Like I love the NES for me is a little off. Like there's something I think that the gap of graphics, like the NES graphics are not as appealing to me. Like I think the technology shift from NES to SNES, like SNES games still hold up, I think, today. Like they look
Oh, totally.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you look at just at a couple of videos that I did, so the one I did today was Double Dragon, and that is pure NES, like golden era NES, right? As good as it's probably going to get.
Hmm.
And then you get just go a few years later and you look at Mega Man X, and you look at the difference between those games visually, the output of sound in those games, the controller going from that, painful cube to a nice ergonomic feel in your hands. I mean, it really, they got everything right. And you're right, it is such a huge leap between the NES and the SNES.
Yeah, I wasn't even that. And that's what I want to like experience. I wasn't even a member of that generation, and then I started seeing all these people talk about, like Chrono Trigger. That's where really kind of got me into it, and I was like,
Hmm.
dude, I really like the way because like the little 16-bit sprites and stuff and 32-bit sprites that never bothered me. Like I always thought like those games looked really nice, and so when I
Hmm.
saw Chrono Trigger, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like I think this looks super cool, and everybody all the high praise that that game gets, and I tried it, and I was actually on the last boss and then just stopped playing it because I had it on my phone on an emulator.
Uh,
Um, and I was like, then I saw it. I'm actually having it in my Steam cart right now because I want to play it for stream. Um,
oh, it's such a good game,
yeah,
man. That's so.
I'm thinking about picking up most of the Final Fantasy games on Steam because I have them spread out on all consoles. Like I have 9 on PS4, I have 7 on PS4, I have 8 on PSP. So I'm thinking about picking up some of them on the Steam sale before it's over because I wanna. Game Grumps had this thing that they did where their goal, one of their main goals was to play every Zelda game because they both grew up playing Zelda. And I was like,
Nice.
okay, I don't really not to like if you like Zelda, that's cool, but it's never really been my thing.
Mhm.
Um I respect them for what they do, but I don't really care about Zelda like that. I think I really wanted to get into Breath of the Wild because I have it on Switch, but I haven't given it a chance really.
Mhm.
Um but my games of that would be like Kingdom Hearts. I think it'd be cool if I can ever get the courage to run my Elgato again. I think it would be cool to play Kingdom Hearts, all of them because those mean so much to me. I think playing all the Final Fantasy games I think would be awesome. It would be like just like long-term projects that I think would be cool to finish.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, I mean, there's also some hidden series there that kinda came out at different times. I don't know if you ever got in you get into, Lunar? You ever play that?
Lunar. No, I think I played Grandia, but I never played Lunar.
Lunar to me is on par, and I'm not saying this, like, with any hyperbole, it is on par with Final Fantasy. If not, in a couple of ways, the story beats out certain Final Fantasies. That's how good it is.
That's how I felt trying to convince Jalen because we were like we call each other like Final Fantasy whores. Like we were like I'm only Final Fantasy is the pinnacle of JRPGs and I'll never play anything else. Um, that actually changed for me because like I mean like games that like look like Final Fantasy like graphically and stuff like Dragon Quest. Um,
Yep.
I have
Yeah, Dragon
I
Dragon
love
Warrior,
Dragon
Dragon
Quest
Quest.
11. Um,
Yeah.
I haven't gotten even remotely close to beating it and I've bought it on 3 different things now. Um,
Is that the Elusive Age? Is
Yeah,
that the
yeah,
one?
yeah. That's like the newest one that came out.
Yeah.
I
I've
have
got
it
that
on
on 2
everything.
systems as well.
Yeah, I got it on 4, Switch, and I'm probably gonna end up getting it on PC eventually.
Yeah, I got
Um,
Xbox and, PS4. I've got it on both.
yeah, I love that game, but like I mean like games like that, like the upper echelon of like these are the premier what's put on the forefront of JRPGs. Like we were like I'm not playing anything that's not this. Well then I
Yeah.
tried the Trails of Cold Steel series. um
Oh, yeah.
which was kind of against like my like I was like the graphics are kind of weird, like they're not bad, they're just like and I found out it was like a Vita port and I was like I don't know, I don't know if I should give it a shot. And then I started playing the first one and I was like, dude, the character development is amazing, I really like the story, I'm not far in it at all, but I was like I just like there's a whole world of games outside of like the big two, and if you just like step outside of that and try that, I'm always open to trying new JRPGs because I think that's like been like one of my favorite genres of video games since I was like a kid.
Dude, check out Lunar, and if you haven't, uh, what's the other one that I was wanting to recommend? Well, I mean, Suikoden by itself, you've seen me, do that daily. That
Yeah,
to me,
yeah. I played Suikoden 1 on emulator. I think I told you I got pretty far and then not far. I wasn't far at all. I got to like the base where you got to fight the dragon and I accidentally saved my emulation in the cutscene and I wasn't strong. I needed to grind. I wasn't strong enough to beat
yeah,
him.
yeah. Suikoden 2 is probably one of the best games that would hold up against a lot of those. Lunar, I would say that's another one that I'm crazy about. Ogre Battle Tactics Ogre, that whole series, a little bit more strategy heavy. I
Hmm.
don't know if you played those.
Yeah, I think I've actually heard of the Tactics Ogre series because I was really into Fire Emblem for a long time. And I
Oh
was
yeah,
looking up like games that like if you like Fire Emblem, you'll like these, and that's when I found out about Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics
yeah,
Ogre and all that.
yeah. The Vandal Hearts is another one I think that I dig. Looking back here, Xenogears, a little
Dude,
different.
oh yeah, I wanted to try Xenogears because it had like the anime kind of aesthetic.
Yeah, that's
Um,
exactly right.
but I didn't like anything that's like anime JRPG is like right up my alley. So I was like, I really wanted to try that, but I didn't give it a chance yet. I was gonna ask you about a game. Did you ever play Radiata Stories?
I I'm familiar with it, but I'm not sure actually.
It's so I got it. That was like what I miss about being a kid sometimes is like my parents would ask me what I wanted for like Christmas and my birthday, and I would just say like games. Like I don't care. And then they would just try to pretty much my mom knew anything with a sword in it is probably a fair bet. So she got me this game called Radiata Stories, and it's a
Uh-huh.
PS2 game. I think it is made by Square.
Yeah.
And it's basically like you play as it's one of those like Tales kind of games like with the combat where it's like action combat.
Mhm.
It's actually a lot like Tales in that sense. But you play as like this dude named Jack, and you're like a knight, and you're going through all these like things to become like your dad was like a famous knight. Then you go to your little knight trial and you get your ass kicked by a girl, and it's like, but it's kind of got that like Suikoden thing where there's like a ton of recruit. I don't think there's as many as there is in Suikoden, but there's like I think like 50 or so like recruitable characters, and you have to do like certain things to get them to join you as party members, and they're all like super interesting to look at, and they all have really cool designs.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm sitting here reading the stories. You're reading this. Yeah, 300 characters and 175 recruitable NPCs.
Yeah, oh yeah, I didn't even know there was that many because like I said, there's so many that as
That
a
is
kid I was just trying to get all
great.
these like characters, like I was just trying to like find the coolest ones and get them in my party. But there's like all these weird conditions, and I didn't understand that as a kid. Like you have to do certain stuff to get them to join you. But
All right, I'm putting that on the list. I want to check that out.
yeah,
Hey,
when I played Suikoden, that was kind of what I wanted to like. That's what it reminded me of. I was like, oh, there's like recruitable. This is kind of like Radiata Stories.
man, it's reasonable too. It's $30 on eBay, complete in
Yeah,
box.
it's a real I really like that game as a kid. And I actually almost beat it. I surprised myself. I got to the last boss, didn't beat it. Would love to go back and try again. Obviously would probably have to be on emulation if I did. But yeah, I really had a lot of fun with that game as a kid.
All right, so I've got it on my list to buy. That's gonna be on a pickup. I'm gonna give you a shout out for that one.
Yeah, man, I hope you enjoy it too. I don't remember a whole lot about it. I just remember that the combat is Tales like where you get to like run around and you hit like there's an attack button and then there's like special attacks and stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out. All right, it's in my cart now on eBay.
Nice. Yeah,
That's
I
that's
hope you
like,
enjoy it.
man, the amount of stuff that I buy on eBay and Facebook Marketplace is just perverse. It's like where I spend any spare cash that I have.
That's my dad with Amazon. Like it's funny because anytime that we go over to like my parents' house, me and my fiance, it'll be
Mhm.
like every day, 3 o'clock on the dot, the Alexa will go off and be like, "There's a new delivery outside." My dad like literally has like 4 packages come every day. And it's just like random stuff. Like it'll be funny because he'll like open up the box and I'll be like, "Do you need snowshoes?" And I'm like, "No, it doesn't snow here." It's just like he just finds like random stuff online, but it's pretty funny. Like it'll be like I don't know anything from like headsets. Like I know he bought Jalen the Kraken headset, which is what I have on right now.
Nice.
Um he just finds like random stuff. It'll just be like little gadgets and stuff he finds on Amazon. It's like a delivery every day.
Is the Kraken the green one or the black one, or are they both?
I think so. We have a black Kraken,
Mhm.
We didn't know that my dad was going to buy both of us headsets for Christmas, and Nadia just got her computer. Uh, my dad got her the pink Razer headset, the quartz one, I think.
Oh, nice.
And then we have a black Kraken, but he got me the green one that has like the audio box you can plug the mic into for like boosting sound and controlling it and stuff.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and then I think he got Jalen the same one because he got him like really good deals on Amazon, like on Prime Day. I think they were like half off.
Nice.
Yeah, Prime Day is like my dad's early Christmas.
It's a lot of people's early Christmas. If I buy really weird stuff, kind of like beyond video games, like a lot of how to make DIY type stuff. I should really do another channel just on that. And like we're talking yesterday, I usually get a lot of stuff to repair those arcade machines. I'm actually excited to do that. That's going to be, I think, a cool video that a lot of people could get into.
Yeah, what I was trying to say yesterday that I couldn't like type fast enough and also didn't have enough characters to like say it in what I wanted to do without flooding your chat.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I was gonna say I think something that you could do that like I would really like because that was something I got like I said, I don't like all of Metal Jesus's videos, but the ones I do like, and it's not just him. I actually go and look for people like him that do this kind of stuff. I think it would be
Mhm.
really cool for to see you do like top 10 PS2 games that I have, or top 10 PS1 games, or top 10 JRPGs in my collection, or even if it's JRPGs on the SNES, like specific dives into like one genre or one system, and you could do like multiple of them. Like do an SNES like playlist, like a series where it's like, okay, so now we're looking at JRPGs. These are beat 'em ups. These are like the high octane hell shooters where it's like a million things on screen. I,
Oh, like R type, that type of one.
yeah, yeah. Like I think that would be like such a cool series, and it would give you like a lot of content because I mean you could just the more you break it down, the more videos you get out of it. Like you could break it down so far to like PS1 games, these are just JRPGs, and then you could do the next week PS1 games, just shooters, PS1 games, just horror games.
Man, I could look behind me and put up some ideas right now. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Another one that I don't think gets a lot of love is Sega Genesis.
yeah. I've always heard people really praise the Sega Genesis, and I was like, because I wasn't in that generation. When I got
Mhm.
into like older games, I would like the SNES really stuck out to me, and then I was like thinking like, okay, so the SNES was like the pinnacle of everything, but then I would see
Mhm.
like the Sega Master System and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, the graphics were just as good. It was like Sega's version of like it was like their technology for like the same thing.
Yeah, Sega when they came out with Fantasy Star on the Master System, I think it was as good as any NES RPG, JRPG at the time. In fact, probably slightly ahead.
That's funny that you bring up Fantasy Star because I actually just started playing Fantasy Star Online 2 like 3 days ago.
I am actually wanting to create an account on there. So you recommend it?
Yeah, we could actually play together. We could do some videos on it if you want. I mean, even if it's just
Oh,
like these kind of videos, like we're just talking for like an hour while we grind or something.
yeah, I'm game.
Yeah, Jalen's also really into MMOs, so he downloaded it. We made characters. It's kind of cool because it's as far as I can tell, there's not a traditional like healer role, which was kind of weird for me because that's usually what I play on. Like on Final Fantasy 14, I was a white mage, and then when I got to Heaven's Ward, I picked up the Astrologian class, which is like the Yu-Gi-Oh giant cards player.
Oh yeah.
So I got really into like support. Um, but I don't know if there is like supporting roles on there, but I think it's more about buffs. I don't necessarily know if there's like a lot of focus on the healing side. Maybe there is. But there's like it's a action RPG or action MMO, so it's like you control like when you hit a button, it swings a sword. You don't have to like wait for like your little cooldowns. Like there are cooldowns for skills, but it's not like Final Fantasy 14 where you like engage with an enemy and then you have to wait to swing your sword every couple seconds.
Yeah, like most MMOs. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm
it's
a
more like
huge
action.
DPS guy. That's me. If I could do DPS, that's the class.
Yeah, there's so their classes are weird. If you look at like other MMOs, there is like a tank class called Hunter, and they have like a giant like Cloud Strife sword. Um, and they're basically like it said they're excellent at one-on-one engagements. Because they're bruisers basically, they can soak up and deal a lot. The role that I'm playing right now is called a braver. It's like you have a bow and you can switch to like a katana. It's like a DPS role. Then they have a gunner, which is like an assault rifle or like a missile launcher. Um,
Nice.
and the races are pretty cool. There's like the names are dumb, but there's like humans, then there's Newmans and Doomans, which Doomans are like demons, Newmans are like elves. But then there's like this really cool race called the Cast, and they're like robots, but they look like Gundam. They look really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying what I've played of it so far. And if you, I don't know, are you into MOBAs at all?
Not really. I think mainly just because of time.
Yeah, they are very. If you like to play and beat games, MOBAs are not your thing because
Yeah.
one game can last like an hour.
Yeah. For me,
Um,
that's the ability to hop off is always critical for me.
yeah, I totally get that. Only reason I asked is because Backpack was actually we were talking to him when we were doing our collabs, and he said he's like really he used to play League a little bit, and I wanted to get into League of Legends.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
but it's the community is just so toxic that it like really turns me off of the game. Um,
Yeah.
but we used to play Smite on PS4 because that was like the only MOBA you could play on PS4 for a long time. We played Smite for years, like 5, 6 years now, and we just moved over to PC last night. We were playing with some new people, trying to teach them how to play. Me and Jalen, and I still got it. I played DP, so I started those kind of games. I feel like it's always good once you find the one character that speaks to you. For
Yeah.
me, on Overwatch and on Smite, it was because I got a skin for somebody that was cool and I wanted to try him. So like Overwatch, I sucked at Overwatch, and then out of one of the loot crates, I got a skin, a legendary mariachi skin for Reaper, and then I just started playing Reaper all the time, and I got like disgusting with him. Like that was like my first pentakill. Like I was gross with Reaper. And then for Smite, I spent months being terrible at Smite. And then I got the Grim Weaver skin for Arachne, and I was like, I don't even like playing jungle, but I guess I'll just try it. I figured out
Right.
her. That's when I learned about rotations and when to use your skills and stuff. And then I got Arachne to diamond level, and I was like, okay, so I figured that out. I guess I'm. And then I told my friends, I was like, okay, I want to learn how to play this game, so I'm just gonna pick one god out of every like role, and I'm just gonna get him diamond. So then I played Hercules, which is a warrior, got him to diamond. I played Athena, who's a guardian, diamond, and then I got Aphrodite, who's a mage, to diamond. Then we stopped
Dang.
playing for a while, and then last night we just got on and played some Smite, and I played Pele, who's like a Polynesian god. That she's an assassin, and I was like, man, I don't know if I really want to try somebody new, and I'm glad I did because I actually got a trophy or an achievement that I could never get on PS4. I got the get 20 kills and one death. It's called like 20 to 1.
Nice.
I went like 23 and 1 last night. It was only like my third game playing as her, and I had two quadras in the same match. And it's cool because they started adding Polynesian gods, which is cool because me and Jalen are both half Samoan, so that was pretty neat.
Yeah, you mentioned that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was really neat to see like some representation, and they're not like trash. They're actually like good gods.
That's cool. Yeah, my son is huge on those types of games. He also plays Valorant, and he was massive in PUBG for a long time, and was playing in ranked tournaments and all kinds of stuff. So he's one that if I were to hop him on here and we were doing any of those, he would be fun to watch and comment because he makes disgusting kills. You'd have such a laugh about it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I started playing Valorant, but I suck at Valorant because I'm not good at the like I know you can ADS on Valorant, but there's almost never a reason to ADS because
Mm,
it slows down your rate of fire.
yeah,
I'm not good at like Counter Strike or games where you can't aim down sights. Like I suck at those. I'm not good at hitting the distance or anything.
yeah.
I did get one clutch on Valorant, and then I was like, okay, I'm never playing this again because I did something good, and I was just gonna let it live on. But yeah, I won't go back to it.
Yeah, those aren't my speed. I like actually more heading into strategy. That's why I do dig MMO because getting a group together, taking on like a boss and having some tactics behind it, and just JRPGs have been my jam forever.
Yeah,
And
I'm glad that as an adult, I've always liked the idea of JRPGs, but as an adult, I've really like hit them pretty hard.
That's cool.
Yeah, they've always been like really really big on my radar of like games I really look forward to playing. And that's why like I was struggling with the YouTube thing because I was like I really want to play Final Fantasy, but I don't want to have a series that's 500 episodes because I don't want to upload every day. I tried that. My viewership kind of suffered from it a little bit, and I just
Mhm.
like burnt myself out in like a week, like trying to upload 7 days a week. And I was like, I don't know. I respect anybody that can do that because it is rough.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. I mean, I'm doing 9 a week because I'm doing the daily Suikoden, and then I do my Wednesday video, and then I do my Saturday, and then I'm digging this live thing, man. I'm actually thinking I'm gonna do the daily all the way through Suikoden 1, and then what I'm gonna do is do like Suikoden 2 or any other JRPG live, and I'm gonna have like just a weekly time when I'm gonna do it. And if people want to join in, that would be cool. And if not, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm doing a playthrough that will have commentary, but I'm also getting it up there, and keeping the hits coming in. I mean, really, it's not like I want to make a living off this. I want to get kind of our tribe. Like I think, you guys, Backpack, and Generation Pixel is kind of the crowd that we could both keep rattling off. We found a tribe, and the tribe is growing. And I think that's the coolest thing out of this.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. Like, I don't necessarily like if we blew up and people wanted to pay me to just play video games every day, that'd be awesome. But
Yeah.
if that's not what it ever becomes, which statistically it probably won't, that's okay with me. Like, I'm okay with just meeting friends and having a loyal like group of people that will show up for my videos and I show up for their videos. That's fine with me because I've said it on stream so many times. The fact that we moved over to a new platform in Facebook gaming, I was really really worried about that because nobody really does, like they say they're variety streamers over there, but for the most part everybody plays the popular stuff. Um
Fortnite, that type of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
like for them it's like even like mobile games on Facebook are really big, so like mobile League of Legends and Fortnite and GTA 5, like they just like play these like high, like everybody's just trying to get, blow up super fast.
Mhm.
Um, and that's what I kept hearing when I was like getting into it. I would look up, YouTube versus Facebook versus Twitch, and I pretty much decided I wasn't gonna ever do Twitch until we get a following because it's almost impossible to grow on Twitch nowadays.
Yeah.
Um, and then YouTube, I'm still up in the air about. I think YouTube is great. But then when I was looking at Facebook, it is like the newest one. There's not as much competition, and everybody kept saying, don't play multiple games because Facebook will punish you. I've never experienced that yet, and I think that's because I have a loyal subscriber base that shows up for no matter what I play. People show up, which is what I always wanted. I just wanted people to show up for the commentary, and the gameplay is secondary. And it's like it's like you're hanging out with a friend on a couch playing random stuff.
Yep.
And I think that that's always been our brand. And I appreciate it so much that I had now that game Ghost Runner is newer, but I had 7 concurrent viewers yesterday playing a game that like people aren't talking about it like that. I mean, like I'm sure people are, like I kept saying, I think it's probably good for the commentary community on YouTube because it's like one of those like high paced games they can just play in the background while they're like talking crap about people.
Yep.
Um, but from what I've heard, I haven't heard anybody like doing these like long winded series on it or anything. And so for me to
Mhm.
hit 100 views overall and seven concurrent viewers and have 92 comments and did a 3 hour stream where people were showing up, I was like, this is awesome. Like
Yeah.
I can literally get on stream and feel like I could play whatever I want. We played Stardew Valley last night at like midnight and still managed to pull in like 16 overall views. I mean, like we played Left 4 Dead, which is over a decade old, the first one, and
Mm.
you know had 65 views at the end of everything, a bunch of comments. I mean, like it feels like we can play whatever we want and people will show up, which I think is like the best feeling. Not being locked to, all right, guys, here's PloopAChoop, and today we're going to be playing episode 535 of Fortnite. Because I fucking hate
Yeah.
Fortnite. I don't want to just sit there and play it for days on end trying to get people to tip me.
Yeah. Everyone's trying to be ninja.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just boring. Like, I feel like so many more video games exist outside the scope of the Battle Royale craze.
Hmm.
And, we're getting into, there is one Battle Royale that I have actually enjoyed because it mixes Battle Royales and MOBAs together. We just found out about it. It's on Steam. It's a free game. It's called Eternal Return Black Survival.
Hmm.
And it's anime characters, and it has the top down view of like League of Legends, where it's like you're looking over your character, and it has the
Mm-hmm.
skills of like everybody plays a character, and all the characters have skills, and there's crafting, and you have to like there's certain builds for characters, and you have to go through all these like it'll plan out a route for you to go through these zones and find the stuff you need. It marks the
Right.
stuff that you need for your build. You build yourself up, you get to level, like you keep leveling up, and then like once everybody's trying to, it's funny because everybody will run past each other in the beginning trying to build their legendary weapon, and then everybody just starts botting each other, and I think it's like 20 people, and you're trying to be the last person alive.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really fun. I didn't think that those two genres could mix well, but they do.
Yeah, I got to check that out. I like watching them, even if I don't like playing some of them. I think they're interesting to watch.
Yeah, MOBAs are definitely the strategy and watching people pull off crazy plays and stuff. I think we're talking about, at least me and Jalen, like duo queuing for Smite, because I think we could like have some good gameplay, especially if I keep right now we're technically Smurfs just unintentionally, because you can't do cross progression because Sony are assholes. But well, if you have like an Xbox account or anything, you can do cross progression and carry over all your stuff.
Mhm.
Sony won't allow it to happen, so we lost all of our skins, and we both started at level 1. But because of that, we're playing in lobbies with people that are like really bad, and so we're like doing really well.
You're smurfing all your
Yeah,
way up.
yeah, we're just smurfing our way up to the place where we used to be.
That's funny.
I think this was a really successful episode. I think it was awesome that we just talked about a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
Really hit the
man.
JRPGs
Yeah.
heavy. I would love to have you on again. Once we start getting this on, we should just have a big JRPG love fest.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. And this, yeah, I love whenever I can hop on and we can just chat. I mean, this actually is the first time we've ever talked in person, right?
Yeah, and it was very natural. That's how I felt with Backpack too. We both were saying, so we got on Phasmophobia. He
Mm-hmm.
was late because so he's on Pacific time, so he's 2 hours behind me. And he was like,
Gotcha.
"Hey, I'll be on at 10." And I was like, "Okay, that's midnight for me. I'm home for a couple
Yeah.
days." I was like, "That's fine." I was like, "Yeah, that's fine with me. I could stay up late." And he
Yeah.
was like, "Okay." So we we got on that night, and I think like he kept messaging me because I was like waiting. It was like 12, and I was sitting there waiting. I had everything set up and ready to go. And he messaged
Yeah.
me, and he's like an hour late, and he's like, "Dude, I can't find my SD card for my camera. I'm really sorry." I was like, "Dude, you're fine." And then he was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, you're good." I was like, "It's all good, man. I don't have anything to do tomorrow, so you're fine." So we ended up not starting until like 2 a.m. And we
Yeah.
sat there until, and it was funny because um, are you okay with like cussing and stuff? I know you said on your channel you tried not to.
Yeah, on yours, go for it. I mean, on mine, I just keep it down.
Oh, okay,
That's the only
okay.
thing I do.
So it's just important for this next part. So we were talking. It was perfect. Like we both really like me and you. It's like we really got on.
Yeah.
Never was really a lapse in the conversation. We were talking about all kinds of crazy stuff, um, like just like the most weird, disgusting stuff to each other. That was like just grossly funny. And we're both
Yeah.
like sitting there laughing and stuff. And he's like, "Dude, I'm really glad that like we became fast friends." And he's like, "Because I've done collabs with people that have been awful." And he was like,
Yeah.
so I really appreciate that like we just got on. I was like, "Yeah, I figured we would." I was like, "I'm really chill, and I don't like I just want to meet people and actually have genuine friendships, not just like, 'Hey, Brew, I
Mhm.
watched your video, now come watch my video.'" Like I think that's so like it's disingenuous, it's just stupid. I don't
You
like
know
the
what?
stuff for sub stuff.
There's a subtopic there, right? There's a topic that I think would be interesting to dive into because I think it's got its own section. Is it's there is a community that begs for the real, right? And there's a
Mhm.
community out there that begs for getting likes and subs,
Yeah, like
and
validation basically.
yeah, and they do it through one another's kind of enablement. And I think like I actually legitimately like to watch your channel. I like to watch Backpacks. I like to watch Pixel and Gamer Stranded, and some more. That I'm going to forget somebody, and I hope I'm not offending anyone. But there's some that I know that, and you get pulled into this. You get that like little aspect where you're like, man, I probably should go over there because I haven't liked some of their stuff, even though you have no connection to what they do. And I think there's a subculture on YouTube and everything, a lurk for a lurk on Twitch, a sub for a sub. And I think if someone gives you a sub, I think you are somewhat. obligated to give one back. What are your thoughts on that? I think this could be like its own topic,
Yeah, we could
but
almost
just
do that a whole episode. That would be so interesting. So what I
yeah,
will say before we cut this
yeah,
for more material,
sure,
what I will say is I hate sub for sub when it's just dead ghost subscribers. Like, don't even
yeah,
bother subbing to my channel if you're not like. I mean, obviously, there's people that can't watch it, and that's fine. But if you're just
yeah.
subbing to me so that I'll sub to you, we're not gaining anything out of that. Like, that's why I try to be super active with people. I try to like. I felt bad. I actually felt even though I know you wouldn't care because obviously life happens, and I was sick
Mm.
and stuff, and now you know that. But I missed your lives, and I actually genuinely felt bad because I wanted to be on the live to talk to you because I want to support that because I like your lives. Like, I actually fell asleep. I listen to like relaxing like people talking whenever I'm trying to fall asleep sometimes because with ADHD I have trouble like going to bed sometimes.
I hear that.
Yeah, so like I actually put on one of your Final Fantasy IV stream, but I turned it down really low because I didn't want to spoil the story for myself. Um, but I turned it down low so I could just hear your voice, and I fell asleep. And I was like,
Oh, man,
that's
that's
like
cool.
how I use like long-winded content. So I was trying to be to your on your stream so I could support you. So I was like, oh, now I have like all this stuff that I can just listen to be relaxed. And
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, because it's
Yeah,
such a you run such a relaxing thing, like a relaxing channel, and it's very low energy, and I like that. Like it's like not low energy in like a boring way. It's like low, like you are very entertaining to watch, but it's not. Like sometimes with us, we get kind of like crazy and like screaming and stuff. And so
I like that too. Like I think there's a place for all of that. I think what I'm kind of counter to. It's not that I don't feel like I don't put off high energy, but what I don't want to do is be the fake high energy. You guys put it off because you're just bantering and it's fun, you know. And
yeah,
that
yeah, exactly.
I get stuff from that. But when you've got people that are putting on a show, it's like yo and all that crap. I'm just like, man, it just doesn't feel natural to me, and it's off putting. And I've met quite a few people in the Twitch community. I actually got an affiliate over there about a year and a half ago, and I've quit doing it because I feel like you're begging for tips, you're begging for all these different things, and I like to be. I'd much rather come across as genuine me, right? And knowledgeable about the old nostalgia that gaming was, trying to connect it to modern gaming. And I think that's where I want to be. There's like that kind of niche.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah, I don't like the faking it. So for me, when I first started, because I told Backpack I've started thousands of YouTube like attempts on different channels since I was like a kid. Like when I started back to when I was like 14, I was trying to do my most successful channel actually was a Pokemon channel. I think I was just doing Pokemon Showdown battles because I was decent at competitive Pokemon, but didn't
Mhm.
have like a DS capture card. So Showdown is an awesome app where you could just like go and battle people and record it. And so like I was going on there and just like shitting on people and like
Mhm.
winning, and then I'd put up these cringy, "Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy. Today we're gonna be doing another Pikachu sweep. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe." And then I'd be like, and then I'd beat the person. And I'd be like, "Yeah, he just got fucking owned." And like it was like so fake. And like I go back and watch. I wanted to do a video where I reacted to my old videos because I think it'd be funny. Um, but that was like back when I was like 14 and 15, and probably even
Yeah.
up to like 17. And then
Yeah.
this time around, I was like, I'm just gonna be me. Like I'm going
Yeah.
to harness the power of my diagnosed ADHD and just let it run rampant. And it works out like because I do think that having that it's always made me funny because I think outside like my brain is in a million different places at once, and I just
Mhm.
tend to like think of random stuff to say.
Yeah.
Like I told Backpack something funny that just happened. We were talking about really gross. Like he was telling me it'll be on the video that comes out eventually. Um,
Okay.
but we were in the middle of hunting a ghost on Phasmophobia, and we were in the bathroom, and it turned on the dirty water, and I was like, I think it's funny that we just get paid for taking pictures of shit water. And he started laughing, and he was like, dude, I send pictures of my poop to people. And I was like, what? And so we both start laughing. And he was like, yeah, like I just prank my friends by sending pictures of my poop to him. And he was like, I sent a picture of my poop to my girlfriend, and she was like, you're disgusting. And we both started laughing. I was like, dude, I have a hilarious story. So we start talking, and like right as I start, the ghost like slams the door shut. And I was like, excuse me, bitch, we're in the middle of having a conversation. And I was like, geez, so rude. So then I was like, the other night, I was like, me and my girlfriend were laying like back to back, and I scooted down and lined our butts up, and I farted into her butt, and he just started dying, and he was like, "What is that, dude?" I was like, I don't know. I called it a fart transplant, I think. So yeah, we literally that's like we were like little grade school kids talking about poop comedy and stuff, but it was so funny.
That's
Um,
fun.
and at the end of our little session, we got done, and like the whole time it was like us just like praising each other. Like, dude, he was like, dude, I really genuinely look forward to you posting videos. I love your content. He was like, you're a good person, and like you're one of the he's like, your content is so much better than 75 subs. Like you're making content that's, good enough to have like thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of subs. And he's like, I really like, and then I was doing the same thing to him. I was like, dude, I was like, I really do like when I see Backpack Comics. It's like one of the couple people that I follow. I was like, Brew United, Backpack Comics, Blue Neptune, Wody Gaming. If I see you guys pop up in my sub thing, I go and watch it immediately if I can.
That's cool.
And so I was like, I genuinely love your content. And he was like, I was thinking about quitting because I've been doing this for a couple years and I just didn't know like if there was a point. And I was like, dude, you add so much to the community. Like you're
Mhm.
genuinely funny. You have really good comedic timing. And I was like, and who cares if you only have 200 subs, dude? I was like, because people like me use your stuff to get through the day. That's how I see it. I only have 70 subs, but somebody out there is using my content to get through their day. And I was like,
Yeah.
you bring so much to the like, and we just kept like going back and forth, like loving each other up. And at the end of it, I was like, I was telling my girlfriend, I knew I was like, I knew this I was gonna be. I was like, we were gonna get on here and just suck each other off for like 30 minutes about how good our content is. And he was like, yeah, he's like, that's pretty much what happened. But we both agreed, like, we wanted to make a community of content creators, kind of like people like H2O Delirious and Cartoons and Dashy, like where they have their own channels, but they
Yeah.
frequently collab on all games together, like once a week or once every couple weeks. We both
Yeah.
agreed that we'll line up our off days because I'm off every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I want to have a community like me and you or me and him or all of us or
Yeah.
whatever, where we are frequently like once a week, once every 2 weeks, like multiple times a month on each other's channels. I think that would be awesome.
I'm down. I'm down. I love that.
Yeah, just like, just all the time, even if it's just like us streaming and we're just playing like Phasmophobia or something or Among Us or whatever. It doesn't have to be like formal video, but we were talking about all kinds of stuff. Like he was getting me he really made me laugh cuz I was like, yeah, we're thinking about starting a Minecraft world for creators that we like, and we'll all just like live in a survival world, and we'll make it a realm so anybody can join. Even if one of us is offline, you guys can get on there and just make videos, and we'll do survival, and we'll all help each other, and we'll build like a little town and a wall around it. And he was like, dude, I
Mhm.
love Minecraft, but the last time I played Minecraft, I didn't see the sun for 3 weeks.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
so like we're talking about doing a lot of stuff though. Like I really do genuinely want to be on, like, I think it'd be cool if like once a week or once every 2 weeks or twice every 2 weeks, having like, even if it's like us all the time, me and you and me and him or me and Blue Neptune or whatever,
Yep.
just being frequently on each other's channels, being a part of each other's communities. I think that would be awesome, like
Yeah,
frequently.
I'm game. I'm totally down. I'm going to do a couple of things on my channel to change it. I was thinking of kind of over the break here. I'm going to remove the reference to alcohol just on my image
Mm,
because that offends like a whole swath of people. And it's not like I want to. I'm not into like it, man. If you heard me on my day to day, you would like, is that brew? Just
yeah.
so crazy. The words. I mean, I use f bomb as a comma. I mean, it's just me. I typically try not to do it online as much, but that's not like I'm some saint. I'm not. Trust me. But I'm thinking of like making my channel because there's a Brew United that this guy's been trying to get my channel, my Twitter handle actually for a couple of years because he's doing like beer brewing and he's got a community brewunited.com and all that. But I've had that name and this name a lot longer than him. So it's this weird situation where they think I'm him and I want to kind of get away, like even if I'm doing coffee, someone different. I don't know.
Yeah, so you're still gonna keep the name, but you might might like change the beer to like coffee.
Yeah, like a coffee thing or something. I actually tried it on my latest video just to do something a little different. I didn't change the beginning, but even then, I'm like, most people just call me Brew anyway. So I'm thinking maybe I do Brew by itself, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Or even like Brew TV or something, because I know a lot of people that do like streams and stuff. They always like name their channel like whatever their name is and then TV.
.tv, yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
that'd be kind of cool. Brew TV or just Brew. Yeah, I think that's fine. You don't have if you don't want to if you want to drop the United, I think that'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah, Brew United is two of my things. So you know, you're talking about Arsenal. I'm a huge Manchester United fan. So
Oh,
hopefully
that's
that doesn't
crazy.
end.
We're not even supposed to be in here together.
Up.
No, it's okay. I'm actually more of a Wolverhampton fan now.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been a huge Manchester United fan for a long time, and I used to do kind of a yearly pilgrimage there. And I also like beer brewing, so it was Brew United, and it's been that forever.
I was actually wondering if the United was like Leeds or Man U because I was like, when we started having conversations about Football Manager, like when I didn't really know you at first, I was like, when you said you'd played it, I was like, oh, maybe he's just like trying to make conversation. But then like you were like very knowledgeable about stuff like that, and I was like, oh, he actually knows about soccer.
You know, I'm hardcore, like certified with U.S. men's soccer, also some global certs and stuff to coach it. And then on top of it, I played Football Manager, man, since it was whatever it was before.
You said you do have
Can't
your
even remember.
Have
Yeah, I
Oh
still
my
have, I have
god, that's
two.
so awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm in. I think I have my C. Is it my D or my C? I can't remember.
I have
In
the
U.S.
E1, like the grassroots, like little kid bumblebee ball certification because I wanted to get into coaching.
Yep.
Because of Football Manager and because I've been a lifelong fan of soccer. Well, we call it football over here, but I'm so used to like not dumbing it down, but like Americanizing it for like when I stream and stuff. But we call it
Yeah.
football in my house because we don't watch American football like that.
Same with
Um,
us.
but yeah, like so I was an Arsenal fan all throughout like my youth. I have like Arsenal jerseys and I wasn't like really hardcore. Like I would keep up with it, but I got
Mhm.
hardcore into football. Like I'd say it's like 3 or 4 years ago because I that's when I started playing Football Manager. Was a lot more
Yep.
cognitive of like the football world. Started watching Football Daily and HITC Sports and all them to like keep up
Nice.
with what's going on in that
Mhm.
realm. And then me and my best friend, we were talking and I was like, I've watched Arsenal my whole life and he's always watched like AC Milan and Juventus. And
Mhm.
I was like, we should pick like the same Premier League team. And Wolves had just gotten promoted, and I was like, they're a pretty exciting young team. I was like, we should just like hop on that. So we did that together as like kind of it was kind of cool because it was like my first ever like team that I chose that wasn't like my dad's team.
Nice.
But now we're talking about dropping the Premier League. Like I'm still a big Premier League fan, but because of Brexit and everything, and the way that it's going to shape football, I'm thinking about watching like. Plus, I have ESPN Plus, and I can watch like Serie A on there and Bundesliga. So I'm thinking about following another league closer.
You'd be surprised the difference in quality, though, because I mean they're basically playing way lesser teams. The competition is kind of not there, so you're always going to have like top two teams in either league that typically win it, maybe three.
Yeah, yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I know that a lot of people got into the Bundesliga because of the 50+1 rule.
Hmm.
Um, because like basically the fans always own 51%. I wish Arsenal was like that. Because
Yeah.
Stan Kroenke has, but I do think I'm gonna see how Brexit's gonna affect football first. I've heard things like the way that it's supposed to work, and in a sense, it'll make players from South America and Central America easier. Like it's an easier path into the UK, but for
Yep.
other European players, it will be a harder path. So you might not see the next Ronaldo coming out of Portugal, but you might see, the next like Mexican, like maybe the next Ronaldo comes out of Mexico because or Argentina because they're like, oh, it's easier for them to get over there.
That's right. Yeah.
So it'll be a trade off. The only thing that scares me is that Wolves 75% of our team is Portuguese, so that's about to be a
Yeah.
mess.
There was a name. It used to be like Fulham, where they used to call it Full America
Oh
because it
yeah,
was
because all the American
basically
people.
yeah.
Yeah. I think like I was telling I know we talked about it on my Football Manager streams a couple times, but like I
Mhm.
think it's so like Arsenal fans I've never liked like the super I think they're like I mean obviously all fan bases have like really toxic ultras and stuff, but
Yep.
Arsenal fans are like so irritating. Like it's like they're still living in the past, and the truth is like the past is cool, but it doesn't matter when you're sitting in 15th place. Like now they did have two really big wins that they needed. I didn't think they were going to beat Chelsea, so that was huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, you know, it's funny because when they bought Pepe and all these Arsenal fans were like, "Oh, Nicola Pepe, he's going to be, we broke our transfer signing. He's going to be amazing." And it's like, dude, just breaking your transfer record does not mean anything. That just means you got. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean, like, the money does not equal. Like, I mean, look at Kepa for Chelsea. Kepa was fucking awful, but then they spent 30 million on Mendy, and he's like a way better keeper. They got him for a third of what they paid for Kepa. The money does not mean any. That just means you got played. I mean, I think Pepe is a good player. I don't think he was ever as good as 90 or 80 million or whatever it was. And I think that just simply comes down to they were basing it off of, well, he had a 20-goal season. Yeah, but nobody knew that 11 of those goals or something like that came from the spot. He was just knocking in penalties.
Yeah. Yeah. You get like 18 assists and 20 goals and only 5 penalties. Now we're talking.
Yeah. Then you're like, that's a big, and I'm not saying like, penalties, like it's still a contribution, but look at his end product for Arsenal. He's really good at free kicks. He has not put too many in open play.
Right.
And, I think, like, I'm glad that Lacazette found his footing because I actually really like Alexander Lacazette a lot. And I was hurt that he was, like, everybody was talking bad about him and stuff. I was like, fuck you guys. Like, I love him. And then he came out and he last couple games has been putting him in. So hopefully he's back on form. I don't want to see them drop, but I'm not one of those fans that's like, there's no way Arsenal will drop because people said the same thing about Leeds and they spent 16 years in the championship.
Exactly. And you know what? We now have another topic to top on one of the next podcasts.
Yeah, no, we keep up. So I'm going to write these down. We had the way YouTube, like sub for subbing in YouTube. We're just going to call that one YouTube. And then that one we'll have like a whole football one. But I do want to get one opinion from you. It's kind of a hot button topic right now.
Yeah, what you got?
That star for England, Karen, I forget her last name, but she just recently came under a lot of fire because she basically said that Leeds is lucky because some could say that they got promoted because of the coronavirus, like because of the season getting cut short, I think, and stuff. Leeds quoted her, or no, they didn't even quote tweet her. They just tweeted out without tagging her or anything. They said, "We won the league because of the coronavirus, yet we won the league by 10 points." Not really sure how that works. And then all these people went after her and like were talking all kinds of crap on her. And so I've seen, like, I don't know if you've ever watched like the kickoff with True Jordy and all them.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm big into the kickoff. I was watching them respond to it, and I agreed with Adam, but I didn't agree with like what True Jordy and them were saying. They were trying to say like, is it sexist? Like, for like Leeds to go after her. And I was like, I don't think it's sexist. I just think I don't even see what was like. It's not like they were like, somebody told this bitch to shut up. Like, nobody said that. They were just like, you're wrong. And Adam was making a good point. He was like, isn't it sexist in a sense to walk on eggshells around women in football and be like, well, she's a woman, so we can't question her because then the fans will come down on her. He was like, I feel like she just made a mistake, and I agree. It was wrong. It was bad reporting. I don't think you can. She's a hero for England's women's national team, so it's not like you can question her knowledge of the game. She just made a shit take, and I feel like you need to be held accountable if you make a shit. Now, if you're making death threats, you're a loser. Like, you're a weirdo.
Yeah.
If you're making death threats over something like that. But to just be like, not in a respectful way, be like, yeah, you're wrong. That doesn't make any sense. That sounds like an ill-informed opinion. That's not like coming after her for being a woman. That's just like, you're just like criticizing the bad information, and that needs to happen. She should be held accountable if she's going to be a commentary personality.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of two sides of it, I would think. One, whenever you are putting yourself as a pundit, you're putting yourself in crosshairs, regardless of who you are, right?
Yeah.
Because you're saying opinion is the correct opinion, right? So you can kind of put that in one category and say, all right, so anyone that hops in that seat's going to have some flack. Then you could also kind of put another topic up there that is, if you took the statement and you removed any individual, ethnicity, really anything associated with a statement, sex, that type of thing, and you put it just as a blank piece of paper and you wrote it up there, then you're attacking the actual statement. You're not attacking anything else associated with it. So you're not attacking the person. I think if the comments are based about the statement and about the belief structure, I think everyone's fair game. But if people are attacking any other thing and aspect around the person who said it, I think you're starting to cross into a territory where I think it could be construed as sexist. But attacking a belief that is wrong or right, if you're arguing it is open discourse and that's what you want in society. Attacking the person to try to defend your belief because you disagree with them, I think that's where we cross the line.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think that the death threats, you're a loser if you send death threats over soccer. I mean, you're just dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like Granit Xhaka. I don't think he's good enough to play at Arsenal. I think that he makes a lot of boneheaded mistakes. I think that telling the fan, like, I also, because I make music and because I am in the content creator sphere, disagreed with a lot of what the fans had to say about him. So anybody that was attacking him for having a newborn baby, you're an asshole. Like, it had nothing to do with what happened on the field. Was it bad that he told fans to fuck off and he was the captain? Yes.
Yeah.
Is he a human being? Yes. So it's like when you're laughing at him and ironically cheering him for getting, like, for this was like last year, they were like ironically cheering him for getting substituted out, and he was basically like, he was mouthing the words "fuck off" and all this stuff. Yeah, it's a bad look, but he's a human being. I don't like this thing that people treat celebrities. We want to treat them like, we want them to be relatable. Like, please relate to me and be a human being and make the same mistakes that I make. But if you stoop down to a human being's level and you respond out of like emotion, then all of a sudden we were like, no, you're supposed to be a god. You're not allowed to do that. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, you can't have it both ways.
Go back to Olympus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
You can't have it like he had a crack in his face, like in his mask, because for months he had been getting abused. People were talking about his killing his wife and all kinds of crazy shit. And he finally, people are ironically cheering him like, good, you're fucking coming off because you suck. And he's like, fuck you guys. I come out here every week and now I do make mistakes. I'm a human being and I'm frustrated because people say this crazy stuff about like my family and stuff that has nothing to do with football. I mean, I wasn't even mad. I was like, yeah, he doesn't need to be the captain anymore, but like, I don't think we need to sit here and keep digging in the night. Like, all these fans, these like super fans on Arsenal Fan TV and stuff were like acting personally wounded. Like, they were like, oh man, I can't believe he said that. We pay fucking money it was like so sensitive, and I was like, you guys sound really sensitive right now. It is not that big of a. He had a lapse in some of the stuff. Now, none of those guys were saying anything like that to him, but it's just like, the stuff that he was hearing just to be like fuck off. That's like so PG compared to like the stuff he was getting. I think this is kind of the similar situation. The people that were telling her go back to the kitchen and blah, like, that's fucked up because she is a hero.
You cross the line when you say that. Yeah, you definitely you cross the line. Yeah.
People were trying to say, well, should Leeds have been more responsible because basically by acknowledging it, they sent their fan base after her. There is an argument to be made there, but I think that they're a football club and they should have been like, yeah, whatever, fuck it, who cares? But they didn't, and it's not like they called her out. They didn't even add her. They just simply said, won via coronavirus, yet won the league by 10 points. That's all they said. And it was like, it's a valid point. It's like, how did we win by the coronavirus when we were already like basically 4 games ahead of second place?
Exactly.
So it's like, I don't think there was anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with people holding her accountable for what she said and being like, you're wrong. I just, the minute you start saying like sexist stuff, because the truth is that she is an England hero. Whether you like, I don't understand why people talk so much crap about women's soccer. I mean, like, look at the U.S. Our women's national team is much better than our men's team.
I think they could beat the men's team.
I do too. I do too. I think they could smoke the men's team. And like, I've always seen that, like, people like try to in every country try to undercut women's soccer, and I just feel like, she was a hero, made a ton of appearances. She's fine. Like, just let her be. Like, you can. I feel like the criticism is fine. Don't take it too far. People need to get some thicker skin.
That's the idea.
Yeah. Don't like all of a sudden she was getting criticized, and if it was genuine criticism, and you guys like, no, you can't do that because she's a woman. It's like, well, you're doing exactly to her that what you don't want done. You're creating a special place for her to be where she can say whatever she wants. So she's allowed to say, I think Neymar will probably sign for Newcastle United, and nobody's supposed to say anything. Like, we're all just supposed to be like, yep, that's true. Neymar will probably sign for Newcastle.
Such a huge club in the Northeast. Yeah.
I really think Neymar. I think they definitely have the money to sign him. So this all checks out. But yeah, I would love to do a YouTube centered episode about being creators, even if we, get somebody else on it too that's a creator.
Yeah,
And just kind of like bounce opinions off each other, and then we could do a soccer episode. That's kind of just like it's the PloopyCast is going to be centered around video games.
cool.
But yeah, obviously we talked about all kinds of stuff today, so it's wherever the conversation goes.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground today, so I don't know if it's a good place to end or a bad place to end, but we probably should call it just an account of time.
Yeah, because we are approaching 2 hours now. I think that's a good sign though. That means it was easy for us to open up to each other and just have like it feels like we've been friends for a long time, and it was easy to
Yeah,
talk.
it's crazy how this community builds that. Man, I've absolutely loved the time we spent here. This has been fun. Really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, man, I'll let you know whenever I decide to kind of put this together. I'll let you know. I don't know if how you feel like maybe I should make a second channel just for this. I don't think I will though. I think I'll just upload it on the main channel
Yeah, do that.
and
Yeah,
then just have it as like its own playlist, like the PloopyCast. And then eventually, shit, we didn't play any music or anything, so we could totally upload this to like Apple Music and Amazon Music and stuff if you guys want to listen to it that way. But I gotta search those avenues out and figure out how to do that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right, everybody.
Hey, another thing we can talk about is I went to school for music, so there's
Oh,
like
yeah.
a whole other
Oh my
avenue here.
god. Yeah, hold on. Let me get my little notebook real quick. Okay, so we got music, YouTube, football. I think we should do like a top 10 JRPGs episode maybe.
I'm down.
Or even like just like break it down even further, like top 10 JRPG characters.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for checking out the podcast, everybody. You can find Brew United at his link in the description. Over on his channel, he does everyday uploads of Suikoden while he waits for Ayuden Chronicle. And he is also the man when it comes to collecting video games and doing pickup videos. So if you're into a really chilled, relaxing channel where you can go and kind of hang out on these live streams and just talk it out with somebody, I highly recommend. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on this video and to our channel. I think we're going to make this every 2 weeks or maybe every month. We'll see how it goes. It's not going to be set in stone yet, but there's going to be multiple episodes of the PloopyCast moving forward every month. But thank you guys for checking us out. Brew, is there anything you would like to plug at the end here?
No, I think you hit it, man. Appreciate the time, and thanks for everyone for listening.
And we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.